on the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells old and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing there excepting old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood, just as long as it could, before somebody lifted the Lorax away. Just what was the Lorax? Why was it there? Why was it lifted and taken somewhere from the far end of town where the grickle grass grows? The old Onceler still lives there. Ask him. He knows. Oh, you won't see the Onceler. Don't knock on his door. He lives in his lurkum, up over his store. He lurks in his lurkum, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of miff-muffered moof. And on special dank midnights in August, he peeks out of his shutter, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. On the end of a rope, he lets down a tin pail. You have to toss in 15 cents and a nail and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather snail. Then he pulls up the pail, makes a most careful count to see that you paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you paid him away in his snub, his secret strange hole in his grovulous glove. Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper-ma-phone, for the secrets I share are for your ears alone. Schlup! Down schlups the whisper-ma-phone to your ear, and the old Onceler's whispers are not very clear, because they have to come down through a snurgly hose, and it sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax was lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time back. Way back in the days when the grass was still green and the pond was still wet and the air was still clean and the song of the swami swans rang out in space. One morning I came to this glorious place and I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright-colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And under the trees I saw brown barbaloots, frisking about in their barbaloot suits as they played in the shade and ate truffula fruits. From the ripulous pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. But those trees, those truffula trees, all my life I'd been searching for trees such as these. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what to do. I unloaded my cart, and in no time at all, I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop. With great speedy skill and great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and I knitted a thneed. The instant I finished, I heard a gazump. I looked. I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossish, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossish. Mister, he said with a sawdusty wheeze, I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues, and I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset as he shouted and puffed. What's that thing you made out of my truffula tuft? Look, Lorax, I said. There's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A thneed is a fine something all people need. It's a shirt. It's a sock. It's a glove. It's a hat. But it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets or pillows or sheets or curtains or covers on bicycle seats. Sir, said the Lorax, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth that will buy that full thneed. But at that very minute I proved he was wrong, For at that very instant a chap came along, and he thought the thneed I had knitted was great, and he happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. You poor stupid guy, you never can tell what some people will buy. I repeat, said the Lorax, I speak for the trees. I'm busy, I told him. Shut up, if you please. I raced across the room and in no time at all built a radio phone. I put in a quick call and I called on my brothers and uncles and aunts and I said, listen up, here's a wonderful chance for the whole Onceler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast. Take the road to North Nitch, turn left at Weehawken, sharp right at South Stitch. And in no time at all in the factory I built, the whole Onceler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting thneeds, just as busy as bees, to the sound of the chopping of truffula trees. Then, oh, baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now, chopping one tree at a time is too slow, so I quickly invented my super axe whacker, which whacked off 4 truffula trees with one smacker. We were all knitting thneeds 4 times as fast as before, and the Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. But the next week he knocked at my new office door. He said, I am the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be whacking as fast as you please, but I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits while they happily lived eating truffula fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go round. My poor barbaloots are all getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies. They love living here, but I can't let them stay. They have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys, he cried as he sent them away. I, the Onceler, felt sad as I watched them all go, but business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. I meant them no harm. I most truly did not, but I had to get bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory. I biggered my roads. I biggered my wagons. I biggered the loads of the thneeds I shipped out. I was shipping them forth, to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. Kept right on biggering, selling more thneeds, and I biggered my money, which everyone needs. Then again, he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. Onceler, he said with a crufulous croak, Onceler, you're making such smogulous smoke that my poor swabby swans, why, they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in his throat. And so, said the Lorax, please pardon my cough, they cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They might have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you've smogged up around here. What's more, said the Lorax, his dander was up, let me say a few words about gluppity-glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making gluppity-glup, also schloppity-schlop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old Onceler man, you. You're glumping the pond where the hummingfish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gum, so I'm sending them off. While their future is dreary, they'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax, now listen here, Dad, all you do is yap, yap, and say bad, 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 bad. Well, I know my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to keep doing just what I do. For your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering and turning more truffula trees into thneeds, which everyone needs. The instant I finished, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the field came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree, and we heard the tree fall, the very last truffula tree of them all. No more trees, no more thneeds, no more work to be done. And in no time my uncles and aunts, everyone, all waved me goodbye, got into my cars, and drove away under the smoke-smuggered stars. Now all that was left, neath the dank-smelling sky, was my big empty factory, the Lorax, and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a very sad, sad, backwards glance as he lifted himself by the seat of his pants. And I'll never forget the grim look on his face as he hoisted himself and took leave of this place, through a hole in the smog, without leaving a trace. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with the one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was long, long ago, but each day since that day I've sat here and worried away. Through the years, while my factory has fallen apart, I've sat here and worried with all of my heart. But now, said the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So, catch, calls the Onceler, and he lets something fall. That's a truffula seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last of the truffula seeds, and truffula trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula, treat it with care. Give it fresh water and feed it clean air. Grow forest, protect it from axes that whack. Then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back.